distracted and started doing that because I noticed it, but then I realized that someone else may already be doing that, so I didn't want to.
Do you mean the upstream agent gateway docs or the
K gateway?
Yeah, so we do. Yeah, so I guess like we're going through that. So we've done like the agent gateway backend and the LLM provider docs, and the next section we were going to look at was MCP. So we're
that's actually nice because I was doing the MCP section, so maybe I'll just do the MCP section and then I'll stop because you guys have it under control.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll let Nindy know because she was going to look at the MCP stuff, but I'll let her know that you're doing it, and then cool. Thanks.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started the meeting. I saw some new faces. By the way, the meeting agenda is on the calendar invite. I'll put in the chat too. So if you have specific topic, feel free to add to the agenda. For some of you who is first time joining, maybe you can give us a quick intro just so we have the opportunity to welcome you to the meeting.
Sure. Hi, my name's Amanda, and I'm over at NetApp InstaCluster. And we are curious about learning more about Agent Gateway. So I thought I'd show up today and say hi.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you actually sending some of the feedback to our GitHub pages and, give some valuable input on how we could run the community a little bit more friendly and engaging. So we appreciate that. All right, I think you might be the only new person. So welcome. Is there anybody else new? I don't think so. I could be wrong though. All right. If not, let's move to, should we give everybody a heads up on what's coming up on the docs? I know, John, you talked briefly on some of the doc changes for MCP. Art, you mentioned some other docs. I just want to make sure everybody else have the context. So is a new release coming up or anything?
Yes, first of all, also welcome Marcus. And yeah, so we have on, for those of you that have been here in the past, like you know that we've been working on revamping the APIs for the Kubernetes K gateway side. That's wrapping up pretty well now. Probably will be in 2.2 releases in the coming weeks. I just don't know with the holidays if that will end up being just before the holidays or just after. Now we're starting to get the docs all back up to speed. Testing, obviously, make sure there's probably some subtle things that we broke or that we didn't test, adding test coverage, that sort of thing. And yeah, that's kind of the current state of things.
That's awesome. Art, do you want to share any updates on the doc side?
Yeah, I guess just following up on what we had shared a few weeks ago, the split that we had talked about making is currently done in the K gateway side of things. So if you're using Kubernetes to deploy Agent Gateway, you'll use the K gateway docs, and there's like a separate URL. I can pop that in the chat. So that's done. As John mentioned, we're going through on the for the 2.2 release, which would be main in that doc set. And just kind of updating it for all the new APIs. So things like the Agent Gateway backend, Agent Gateway policy. We'll do, I think, Agent Gateway parameters is coming as well, that sort of stuff. I did update the API reference docs today for that. So even though the guides might not all be updated, the API reference docs for the APIs that are currently in the like K Gateway like upstream repo are updated. And then if you're using Agent Gateway not in Kubernetes, you'll still stay in the same agentgateway.dev/docs repo. And we don't have any major updates for that website coming or anything like that. So that will stay the same.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that clarification. So all the API changes is effectively only impacting if you're using in the Kubernetes environment, if you use K Gateway to manage Agent Gateway, right?
Yeah, like all the ones that we were just talking about. I think the upstream agent gateway docs might not be, I'll have to check. I'm not sure if they're like updated for the latest upstream API changes or not, but I can follow up on that.
Okay, that's great. By the way, this might just be a me problem. It always took me a while to figure out whether I'm on K gateway or agent gateway, unless I'm looking at the URL. So because the logo here is agent gateway and here too, so you know what I mean. Like you don't know until you look at the URL and then maybe go through specific steps.
Yeah, so would you want just like the logo changed in the K gateway to have like for it to say K gateway, or to have both agent gateway and K gateway in this one, or?
Yeah, maybe have both. I don't know. Just make it a little bit more clear. It's agent gateway managed by K gateway. I don't know what you all think. I just feel like I got a little bit confused when I tried to navigate between the two pages, because even this page, I guess this is more point to the K gateway project. Okay, so that's at least pretty clear.
Yeah, we should be able to do that. I could maybe even update it in the breadcrumbs name too, like where it says agent gateway docs. It could maybe say, I don't know, agent gateway in K gateway docs or something like that.
Yeah, might be a nitpick, but it is something I noticed myself. Yeah, thanks for looking into that.
Just a question. So now, are you going to have like a consistency between the two docs? Because previously, I remember some parts were available on the about like LLM providers and everything on one place, but missing on another, and it was kind of difficult to find out and you know discover this. So now, just for better understanding, you're saying we updated all docs in sync, or something is still missing?
No, so they're not in sync. So like longer term, we want to like import the upstream docs into the K gateway downstream docs so that they're like closer in sync, like what you're talking about. But we haven't gone through and done that import. We just kind of divided the content. We also want to kind of make sure that the navigation, like what Lynn's kind of hovering over, is kind of looking the same on both the sites. But as you said, for example, in this upstream, we have like topics on MCP authorization and whatnot that I don't think are in the downstream yet.
That definitely helps. Yes, and maybe about this API that you mentioned. Do we have any status of API stability, like alpha, beta, stable, unstable? Is it somewhere mentioned?
No, yeah, actually, that's a good question. I don't think that we do mention like I don't think that we've said, you know, agent gateway is a beta feature or something like this.
Do we have that for Envoy-based K gateway? I don't remember seeing that either.
Do you mean like in the Envoy docs we say that agent gateway is like alpha or beta? What
No,
like
the Envoy as the data plane for K gateway. Do we ever have alpha beta clarified in K gateway?
sort of, if you go under reference, this reference section, and then if you click, I think it's maybe version support, the page, we have, for example, there's like a list of the experimental features and the release development process and like what defines, I think, like alpha versus beta. But I don't think that we.
Yeah. I think this. Yeah.
So basically, you are looking at something similar for agent gateway managed by K gateway, right?
Yeah, I think this page also helps.
But that's a good to do. Like we can look at adding this into the agent gateway section as well.
Yeah, good feedback on that, Dimitro. Anybody else have any other feedback on this before we're moving on? Also, folks, if you have any topics or any questions, so now is a good time to think about too. or if you guys have done anything interesting regarding Agent Gateway, we would love to hear as well. One thing I would want to share though is the Istio community has been socialized a plan from Microsoft adding support of Agent Gateway into Istio. Istio Ambient start with the ingress, allowing user as an option to deploy Agent Gateway as ingress or egress. So that might be interesting to some of you. It's just another way to have a different control plane to manage Agent Gateway. It really shows the project is being popular by going to be adopted by one of the most famous service mesh. So
I think definitely yes, because we started, for example, to look in the direction how to get the K-gateway added to this combination. But if you were saying the Istio will have more native integration, that's also very interesting.
yeah, we're excited about that too. All right. Does anybody else have anything to share or any topic to bring up?
Can I, sorry, just because it's silence, I may
No, it's
just
good.
ask another question.
Please do. Yeah.
Because we are now in the process of like kind of looking on adoption and trying to look on the Agent Gateway, K-gateway, all of these wonderful projects and things. And one of the questions when you look from enterprise point of view, there is like an enterprise version and this community version. From source code perspective and other things, what is the relation between the community and the enterprise? Is it kind of done that enterprise extending community based on some plugins, or it's a completely new source code, like basically proprietary source code built and everything? Just on a high level, I just trying to understand myself, what is the kind of relation and difference, how, for example, fixes are getting, features are going through, like what is the master?
Yeah, so one thing just to clarify, and you may know this already, but there is not a enterprise agent gateway. There is, Solo happens to have an enterprise distribution. There could be others. I don't know of any others, but just trying to make it clear, there's not like one official enterprise one, like some projects are kind of doing such a thing, right? That being said, I can give some insight into how Solo is managing our enterprise build, since you asked. For the most part, the vast majority of our things in our enterprise are things built on top of Agent Gateway, like management things, bundling, API key management things, authorization, rate limits, things like that. That actually has nothing to do with Agent Gateway code directly. There are a few changes that we make in Agent Gateway, but it's definitely just like small extension points.
Okay.
Like we're certainly not like developing on the enterprise build as like our main branch at all. There's like a patch essentially.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, so you basically take the upstream code of the community at some point, then you add your extra add-ons and you release it as a...
Yeah, but for the vast majority of stuff is not even like added to it. It's like just other things that you get that make it, feasible to run in the enterprise setting, like external processes, those sorts of things. So. Yeah,
because we were looking on the list of a comparison of this enterprise features. Some of them are kind of interesting, but trying to understand.
So, Dimitri, just make sure I understand why you are asking. Are you asking because you're trying to choose which one is right for you, or are you asking because you are also interested in offering enterprise agent gateway?
We're not yet interested in like enterprise version, but we're just trying to understand the difference and the value of this offering. Like, for example, if it's relevant for us, if it's not relevant, what features out there.
Yeah.
And things like that. For example, you have some additional observability, and the question is like, should we just rely on the existing one, or we just will really need that part as well, and stuff like that, or like the solicitation or something else, this.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're not interested in offering enterprise. It's just
We might be, but at this stage it's a bit early. I would say, it's like first you try to sell it internally in the enterprise. Okay, let's go with this community version. Later, it might be an option, but at this stage, it's too early.
Got it. Yeah, thanks for the background information. Appreciate that. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Nina?
It's not really a question. It's like last week I showed Cajun actually working with Agent Gateway. So I can kind of demo a quick example of
it. Great.
So I'll send let me share. So this was all as part of the, it's all open source because it was part of the Boston Kubernetes meetup. But I ran through some examples of setting up Agent Gateway as the egress and also as the MCP gateway, so like to federate to MCP servers. And I think we actually need to create some docs around this. It's a little tricky with our APIs changing, but I think it's like a cool way to see K-Agent working with Agent Gateway in two different cases. So in my cluster, I have everything already running. I just set it up 5 minutes ago and did a quick test, but K-Agent's like the default installation. I have K-Gateway running in for the controller, and then I've set up an egress gateway with this gateway resource. So it just like has 8080. The name of it is egress gateway. And then in order to integrate it with K-Agent in your model config resource, you can actually define, like instead of the default one, you can define the model config to point to a base URL. So this is, in this case, pointing instead of to like an external provider to our egress gateway. And then Agent Gateway is handling all of the traffic, and you can apply policies there. You can do like model failover, all the good, Agent Gateway LLM consumption use cases that you might care about. So the only, I also, I guess, like will show the HTTP route that I have. So I have a simple HTTP route going to OpenAI. This is using the new Agent Gateway backend ref type. And like just mashing out everything, very simple route. It's attached to the egress gateway. And then let's actually, we can delete the policy and then see it in action. Gateway policy, such a mouthful. So I have a prompt guard policy right now. Let me delete it and show the behavior without it, and then show the behavior with the policy applied. So in my K8 agent, I've actually edited the default agent to use the new model config resource that I applied. So instead of using the default that came out of the box, I've pointed it to use the one that has the proxy URL to point to the egress gateway. And so I was testing this earlier, so just to double check it was working. So if I test it without the prompt guard in place, I ask it to give me a bunch of email addresses for someone named Nina, it will do it. But now if I apply the prompt guard, so this is my prompt guard resource, it's attached to the HTTP route. And it's going to, like, just for an example, you can use like webhook or like the OpenAI moderation endpoint, but we're going to use a mask with email regex masked out. So it's just going to mask out all those emails. If I apply that to my cluster, you'll see like there's no changes to the actual agent. The egress gateway will get configured with that policy. And then if I send the same message, we should now get it guarded against. So all of the email addresses get masked, which is pretty cool. You can also do this for rate limiting. That was the other example I showed. I don't know if we want to do that, or I can switch to the MCP example, but are there any questions about that?
Dimitri has one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry. For this setup, do you see when we have a list of models defined in Agent Gateway, right? they can be kind of like a virtual names, right? They are not represent real, but they kind of logical name, right? And when you create this model in the K-agent, right? As far as I know, there is no direct integration, so we don't have like a drop down automatically to select it or kind of UI integration. But is it possible to fetch the list of models from this agent gateway in some way and do this UI integration? Does anyone feel that it's would be useful? You see what I mean? Like if, let's say I define list of models in my organization, right, which is available, for example, small, medium, thinking, and then something like that. And then to have ability to show this drop-down list on the K-agent side from the agent gateway.
Yeah, that's a good question. We currently don't have the discovery piece. Like the way that it's working, I guess I didn't show this last resource, is like you have to define your provider as an agent gateway backend, right? You can define like model all over here. I guess it's maybe a question for John. Like you could get that behavior, but like in order to have it appear in the dropdown, you'd have to define like the model config per like path that you have. So that could be like a workaround, but we
currently use base URL, right? But that base URL is not automatically discovered, and then you need to put it in the advanced properties and things like that. I'm just someone else was asking me this question when we discussed you know, when we deploy together these two components, like if we have agent gateway and K-agent, so maybe we can have a ability to integrate them on UI as well.
I think that would be a K-agent issue. We have the same issue with K-agent today with the Discover MCP, right? Like the K-agent can auto-discover MCP server if I have the right annotated label. But if I'm going through agent gateway, I have to manually create my MCP server resource and make sure K-agent can discover that. It's manual. So I think it's in the same.
Yeah, but do we have such an API on the agent gateway already, or we need to do something extra on it?
I think Lynn was saying it has to be on the K-agent side because it would define like what the discovery API would be, right?
Yeah, and then if I understood your question, Dimitri, I think agent gateway, based on what Nina shows, you could specify multiple backend for AI, right? Because I think you showed you use OpenAI as one of the backend, but it could add another one.
Yeah, it's just the discovery piece. Like I think defining how like K-agent expects that discovery to come back would be on the K-agent side, and then agent gateway, like I guess you could implement it, but there's no like Cool. Okay, and then so rate limit. I know we're like close to time, so I can just show the config. It's very simple, very similar to what PromPtGuard is doing. You can define a global rate limit based on tokens. So actually, we might as well apply it and just see it in action. So with the global one, you need like some reference to some like rate limit server to enforce it. So I have an example from the K-gateway repo that has Redis and the example rate limiter server. The rate limiter server comes with a config map that configures the server. So it just sets like a limit of 150 tokens. So you can test something like write me a poem about Kubernetes. I actually don't know if this one will work because this agent has been kind of finicky. I think the system prompt, I guess it did work. So it like writes a poem, but it cuts off. So if I do something else like, hi, should 429, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do token-based rate limiting, which is kind of cool on egress. And then the final component I showed was you also have this tool server, remote MCP server definition, where you can point, sorry, this one, yeah. Oh, it's not accepted. Okay. I think the authorization failed. Okay, I'll have to debug why it's not configuring, but you can point your MCP server, like the remote MCP server to agent gateway as well. And then agent gateway can define these like backend resources, which so I have my MCP servers running, and you can select the MCP server based on a static selection or the selector by label as well. So I think this actually won't work because the remote server doesn't seem to be happy for some reason. I don't know why it's expecting 403. Like I don't think I have any authorization policies in place, but maybe. Oh, I did have. Okay, well, let's try that again. Okay, I think I might have applied that. Let's delete it and try it again. And if it doesn't work, it might just be like a version mismatch. So which one? The I think it's MCP backend has it. No, that's unchanged. The gateway should have it. Okay. So that okay, now accepted. Cool. I just had to delete the policy. So this has reconciled and reached out to, like, it discovered all the tools for us through the gateway. So now if I go to the Kagent homepage and I like create a new agent, test, let's put it in the Kagent namespace. This is just like user reference, so it doesn't really matter what goes in here because the agent doesn't use it. Let's just use the default like instructions for now. We can use the default model as well because we're just testing the federation case. But then for the tools, like I can search now for like the echo tool, which is like, so it's going to go through my MCP gateway and then hit echo. And then there's also like, I think fetch is one of them. So this is another MCP tool that I have access to. And then add is like the other one. So I can like select, like I have 2 MCP servers running in my cluster, but both of them are federated through agent gateway, and I can kind of pick and choose which tools I want to add. So then create my agent, and oh, agent not accepted. Oh, it's just not ready yet. So once that's ready, we can test out the tools, but you can also apply policy at that, like the MCP gateway level as well. So you can apply, we just merged MCP authentication, so you can authenticate JOTs at the gateway level. You can write cell-based RBAC. You can do a lot of different things. So let's test out our agent, and I think we're at time, so I'll end it there. But so if I do like, yeah, so it's running. So if I do like hello echo, it calls the MCP server, it calls echo, and then if you go back and like check, the connection went through agent gateway. So you can see the MCP call here.
That's awesome. By the way, do we still prefix on the MCP tools when we have multiplex? I assume. Like I assume you have at least 2 or 3 MCP server behind your agent gateway. We just prefix each of the tools.
I think we do, but there's a way to override it, right, John?
I think there's a way to override it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That.
Yeah, it was not obvious from the UI, from the Kagent UI. Like
Yeah,
you can't tell. Yeah.
yeah. So like in our the MCP remote server, we just pointed to the /MCP endpoint right now, but you can customize that.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Nina, for sharing your live demo. Didn't expect that.
Right, it was very last minute. I was like, it worked last week, so it should still work.
Awesome. With that, should we wrap up the call? All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. See you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.